any standout memories from when you were 11? Like 5th, 6th grade? If you're like me, probably not a whole lot, because it was a long time ago. But if you do have some of those memories, they probably revolve around school or sports or siblings. And they probably don't revolve around burglaries, shootings, grand theft auto, and murder. But that is what one 11-year-old might be reminiscing about in the many years to come, if he even makes it into his teens. Since March, we have been following the struggles of police and prosecutors in New Mexico and how to deal with an 11-year-old boy that they've been tailing for quite a while now. He is in the system somewhere in that state tonight, along with 2 other kids, older kids, all of 13 and 15 when arrested. They were hauled in for the violent death of 63-year-old nuclear physicist Scott Habermill. This happened about a year ago at 4:30 in the morning. Scott was on his way to work at the Sandia National Laboratory, and he was riding his bike. The kids were behind him in a stolen car, and one of them was filming on his phone from the back seat.
Are you guys recording it?
Yeah. Oh, my soul.
You ready to start property? Hurry up, start.
They gonna hit him hella fast. Just bump him, bruh.
Like, just like bump him?
Yeah, just bump him. Go like 15, 20.
We froze the video, obviously. You don't really want to play a man's murder on television. But you can bet what happened next. They didn't just bump him. They ran him right over. And Scott Habermill died. Of course, that video was a big help in tracking the 3 suspects down. And tonight we know the fate of at least one of those boys, the 13-year-old, the one who was behind the wheel driving, the one who bumped him. Yeah, I said 13. He had quite a day in court. It was not a trial, because that child, Jonathan Overbay, pleaded guilty to 2nd-degree murder. He also pleaded to leaving the scene of an accident and illegally having a gun. His lawyers struck a deal for him, under which he will stay locked up until he is 21 years old. If you do the math, that is 8 years from now. But you know what else happens at these kinds of deal makings? Sentencings. And you know what happens when people are sentenced? Victims' loved ones have their say. Here is Scott Habermill's broken-hearted wife, Jamie.
I'm in survival mode, so I feel none of this for the perpetrators of this crime. I go through day to day just hoping to make it through yet another day, and I don't have the ability to feel sympathy, empathy, or compassion for any of the 3 that put me in this place. So if they're seeking my forgiveness, they also will not receive that. It's not mine to give. The person that could give it is no longer able to, because he's dead. And they will have to find their forgiveness somewhere else. It will not come from me.
When the news broke in March, it did not bring relief or closure. Instead, it reopened wounds that had barely begun to heal. The revelation that the crash was no accident, it was premeditated murder, brought new pain, anger, confusion, more questions. Why did this happen? How could a human being be capable of taking an innocent cyclist, Scott's, life? We are left to contemplate questions that will never have an answer.
I'm deeply sorry for your loss. I pray for you guys to heal, and I know that there's no excuse for what has happened. Sorry. I can't imagine what you're going through right now, and please just know that me and my son are ready to face the consequences for his actions.
So, 8 years. 8 years for the boy who was driving that stolen car and killed a respected scientist. What about the other 2 kids? The kid in the backseat who made that video is William Garcia. He was 15. Now he's 16. And prosecutors decided to charge him as an adult. And he is in jail, pending trial, no bail allowed. You won't be going home to mom. The boy in the front passenger seat, the one who was waving the gun, he is the 11-year-old Messiah Hayes. In a better world, Messiah should be in about 5th grade, dreaming about his first crush, maybe a soccer game. But instead, he is in legal limbo. And tonight, he's not charged with this crime. And that is because the law in New Mexico prohibits detaining or prosecuting anyone under the age of 12. But there is one exception, and that is murder. And what is clear as day is that Scott Habermill was murdered. So what will authorities do about this 11-year-old kid? My next guest knows. Sam Bregman is the DA for Bernalillo County, New Mexico, and he's live with me now. DA Bregman, thank you so much for being with me tonight. That's the question. What is going to happen with this 11-year-old?
Of course, and thank you, and it's a pleasure to be on tonight. I will tell you that 11-year-old will be charged with murder. When he turns 12 years old, he will be charged with murder.
So that is what I've been waiting for, is that metric. I believe, if I remember reading a document a while ago, that his birthday is in days or maybe a week or two.
It's in the month of May, and we will be charging him with murder. What you just showed is so devastating and so disgusting and so cruel, and so words cannot express how awful this is, and it's crazy. I mean, we've got an 11-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 15-year-old doing this, and it's so unacceptable. And we don't have a juvenile code in New Mexico that is caught up with the things that we are seeing on the streets of Albuquerque. It's very disheartening, and we need to do everything we can to make sure we hold these young kids accountable when they do something like this and protect the community. And it's extremely frustrating. We just tried recently to amend the juvenile code in New Mexico up the legislature, and we barely even got a hearing. It's really frustrating because times are changing. This isn't about a couple of kids fighting behind the high school anymore. This is about kids who are violently hurting and killing people on the streets of Albuquerque. Listen to this statistic. I've charged 46 kids with murder over the last several years. 46. It's crazy.
46. When, it's fascinating that you say that he is going to face murder charges, this 11-year-old, and when he turns 12 in the next few days and weeks, will he face the same process likely as this 13-year-old, meaning he has the opportunity to plead? He may face the same juvenile proceeding. There is no chance for him to be raised to adult court like the 15-year-old, correct?
That's correct. And the same with the 13-year-old. The 13-year-old that pled, the only other charge he could have pled to was first-degree murder, and that would have been the exact same sentence. At that age, they cannot be charged as adults. They cannot be kept in past their 21st birthday. It's very disheartening, and things need to change because we need to hold people accountable, and it's pretty tough to tell the family of a victim, like we see here today, that they're all going to be out at 21, or not all, not the 15-year-old, because he's being charged as an adult.
Yeah, what's the potential for this 15-year-old? I want to keep in mind that the allegations are he's in the back seat, he's rolling video, he's egging on the driver, saying, bump him, go 15 or 20. So I'm looking at what that means for an adult charged with a conspiratorial kind of murder, because that's what this sort of looks like if the allegations are true. What would he be facing? What kind of a sentence would that 15-year-old backseat filmer be facing?
Well, that would be up to a judge, obviously, what type of sentencing. But he's by the way,
what's the range?
0 to 15, and he is presumed innocent unless he's proven otherwise in a court of law. And I want to make sure I emphasize that the individual that's pled guilty, they are obviously guilty of second-degree murder, and they will be until they're 21. I wish we could have extended that longer, but right now that's all that the law provides. We've actually worked a lot on this issue in our office to try and get our legislature to change the laws in our juvenile justice system. And here's the kicker. We haven't updated our juvenile justice laws since before the iPhone was invented, back in 1993. Wow. Okay, things have dramatically changed. These kids now, as you saw in the front seat showing the gun, they think they're trophies now. The violence amongst young people right now is unacceptable.
Well, and the celebration of it, the posting of it, the laughing, the keeping it a secret for, a year while that man died. And he could have been saved. He could have been saved because once the paramedics found him, he was breathing, he was bleeding, but he could have been saved had someone done something about it. Last quick question. This 11-year-old's background is absolutely jaw-dropping. Police say that he'd been arrested multiple times, just beyond the age of 10. At least 2 shootings, aggravated assault, burglary, vandalism, organized retail theft, ramming a car into a convenience store to steal alcohol. All of this last summer when he had barely just turned 11. This is a dangerous person, no matter what age he is. And so now we've got this alleged murder that he'll be tried for, as you said, he'll be charged for. But where is he tonight? If he's not being detained, if he's not charged currently, where is he and how do we know we're all safe from him now?
Well, I know where he is, and you talked about transparency earlier. I would love to get in and talk more about specifics, but I'm not allowed to because of the law in New Mexico forbids me as the district attorney, the prosecutor, from speaking about a child of that age. But I want the people in New Mexico to know that tonight that is not a worry about that, and I just can't disclose more than that. I'm forbidden from doing it. But he will be charged, and we'll hold him accountable every single bit under the law as it exists today.
You know what? You and I have to talk again. I think there's so much more to be said. And clearly in the next couple of days, like I said, I was digging through all the paperwork. I spotted his birthday weeks and weeks ago, and I know it is days away, if not just mere weeks away. So I'm going to call you again, District Attorney Bregman. Thank you for this tonight.
Please do. Thank you.
All right, this is a good opportunity for me to bring in someone I have a great deal of respect for. It's Judge Ashleigh Wilcott. You've seen her on Court TV. She's a career trial attorney and mediator, also a certified child welfare law specialist. I couldn't wait to get your take on this. So let's just start with what happened today, Ashleigh. 13 years old, pleading guilty. He'll be locked away till age 21. But is that enough?
Well, no, I don't think it is enough. Ashleigh, thank you for having me as always. You know how much I respect what you do in bringing this to light, because here's the reality. You just heard it straight from the district attorney. The laws are such, and the goal was when we come up with these laws to hold children accountable, they're children. So the whole goal is rehabilitation. And so it's not to say they need to be punished, deterred, they're going to be in prison for 20 years, but rather we're going to put them in a juvenile facility where they can receive rehabilitation so that they can come out a better person, so that while their young brain is developing, they can come out and say, those were bad choices. This is why I'm going to make better choices. The problem is when you have this heinous of an offense, is that ever going to feel like justice to anyone that he stays in till 21 and he's walking the streets? No, that's not going to feel fair at all.
Now let's talk about the 11-year-old. You just heard the DA making news tonight saying as soon as he turns 12, he will be charged. I wish I could remember his birthday, but it's coming up soon. The question I have for you is, why doesn't the law treat juveniles the same way it treats those with mental ailment? Meaning, if you are not guilty by reason of insanity, you're incarcerated until you are well. And if you are never well, Andrea Yates, I think of, you don't get out. Why isn't the same standard applied to juveniles? You go away until we know you're safe, and then you can get out.
Because, again, the entire point of the juvenile system is to rehabilitate. The belief that at the core, kids are kids. They make dumb decisions. They make bad decisions, Ashleigh. And because of that, and their brain's still developing, there should be a way to treat them and they should get out. They shouldn't spend the rest of their lives in prison. The problem is when you see these kinds of offenses, it's a whole different kind of offender. It's why the 15-year-old could be tried as an adult, because then it's presumed he has the mens rea, the ability to know in his brain right from wrong, that he's committed a crime, that it's premeditated. And so the problem is you're seeing kids younger and younger and younger committing these heinous offenses. And I think there are two reasons for that. It's either A, true mental health issue that needs treatment, or B, parenting. There are problems, whether it's abuse and neglect, trauma, whatever it is, that has messed this kid up so much that they are committing horrific crimes, and maybe they need to be tried as adults at a younger age. That's something our system needs to look at, to the district attorney's point.
Judge, I only have like 30 seconds left, but I have to get you on this just because you know so much about the law as it applies to juveniles. This 11-year-old, the rap sheet is just unbelievable, and I wish I had a better adjective. Shootings, aggravated assault, burglary, vandalism, retail theft, ramming a car into a convenience store to steal alcohol, and now this alleged murder. Is this the kind of 11-year-old that is rehabilitatable?
Not without a lot of help, not without a lot of treatment for a very, very long time. And I would argue that child's been neglected, and that's the reason, right? A parent doesn't allow a child to do that without neglecting them. So there's a parental piece of this as well.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I know from earlier interviews, and that is that there are no parents. I believe one or both may be dead. One was MIA, the other one died. Another one was an aunt or something, tried to keep this kid in and could not hold him. He was just a wild child, so there is some of that. It's great to have you. Thank you for the perspective. I'm going to ask you back when that charge happens, and we can talk more about it then.
Thank you, Ashleigh.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.